All right. For the record, it is May 6, 2021. This is our BDA and AMO ongoing weekly training. And for the record, we're doing today is on AIG Partners Group, which is why Phil is here. So Phil has graced our presence a few times in the past and really great at what he does. But today, really, I put the question on Phil because of everyone that's here, is answering the question, why should agents have AIG Partners Group in their product portfolio? So I'm going to have Phil talk a little bit about his history at AIG Partners Group and who he is, because on our end, he is our point of contact. So for everyone that's here, if you guys have AIG Partners Group questions, we have Phil's contact information, including his home address. I mean,
is that you outside last night?
we'll leave it at that. Shh, Phil, shh. But the reality being is that, like I said, this is why this is important to make those introductions, because you guys are going to have things that will come up. You guys have agents that ask weird questions, or there's going to be things as there are people are writing policies that, you know, using Phil or the internal team that he has to push something through or to get something done. That's why having these direct contacts are important. So leverage the heck out of Phil as much as you can. But this is, as we talked about, this is going to be more of a conversational tone. Phil's going to go through some information, of course, but this is not like a formal presentation. It's not like we have agents on and, you know, we need to get through stuff in a certain manner. So if you guys have any questions, just pipe in, unmute yourself if you're muted, and ask the questions, because this will be valuable for you to make sure this is your time to get those answers. And also then for anybody else that's watching the recording. The last thing I'll say is from our end, our goal, of course, if you don't already have it down, is for everyone to have like 1 to 3, I'd say maximum, of kind of snippets of value propositions that you can take afterwards and talk to your agents about and say, this is what's going on. This is why you should work with AIG Partners Group. So without further ado, though, I'm going to pass it off to Phil, and glad to have you on. And I'll mute myself right now until we chime in. But before we get into that, there was one question that everyone had before we got started that was really important for us, Phil. Jeff, do you want to ask it?
Oh, you're going to make me the happy.
I'm totally going to make you ask it.
I'm curious to know what is preventing, or why they have not got into the accelerated underwriting for their term portfolio.
Great question. So that was going to be part of the shtick, the spiel, but because you asked it up front, and I like answering questions more than I like dog and pony shows, I'll tell you this. So AIG has always been one of those price people. You know, we're always top of the chart for term. They select the term side. So AIG Partners Group is a more value proposition. And so in essence, we get lumped with the big kahuna, the big fish, the selected term. And so pricing matters on spreadsheets for direct marketers. And so they want to make sure they maintain that pricing level. Now, when we talk about the Partners Group side, we have a council. In years and years and years, we've been asking, hey, would you rather a faster process, but price, you know, is indicative of process and things like that? Everyone said, let's go with process. And it's like, all right, price it is. And so when COVID hit, we were kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. We sell tons of term, and what we were getting from our non-med solutions on our Max Acumen at $499, $999 was some pretty bad business. And so they got a little hesitant with the term, seeing that we sell a ton of term. And so really where we're at right now is Q4. We're looking at an opportunity to integrate. One of the cool things about AIG is that we can, or the Partners Group side, is we can couple it with perm and get discounts. And so we might do a pilot with coupled solutions first to see how well it takes. But if we try to do it now, the reinsurers kind of puckered up when COVID started, and long story short, it would have really butchered our pricing, and so they decided to go the traditional method and stick with the paramedical exam underwriting to give the value proposition. Yeah, you get it today for this price, or if you wait 3 weeks or so after a medical exam, you could save some money and get this product with these living benefits and this and that. So more to come as this year unfolds. You guys are actually lucky to be here today because I just got some news like 30 minutes ago that we're removing COVID guidelines on May 12th. So we're back. So that's a big perk. You'll see a flyer come out, I want to say probably Friday or so, but I'm not even supposed to talk about it. So anyone who's on this recording, don't tell anybody.
Talk about
yet.
what?
Exactly. I like you already, Jeffrey. I like you already. So more to come on that.
This is why this is a marketers meeting, not an agent meeting. We get the inside scoop.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll keep it between us friends, you know. And so that's a big perk. The other thing too is, you know, I'm taking a survey, and so I'll ask you guys as well. Understanding that people are starting to dip their toes back in the market from a travel perspective. AIG is eyeing June, July timeframe to let this monotone magic come out in the field and kind of do dog and pony shows again. So as long as they're warranted and you know, training perspective versus just, you know, coming out to share drinks. But you know, curious if I'll fire a question back at you guys. Are you seeing people? Is it worth me actually coming up to the area to visit, or is something like this, you know, still relevant and simple enough?
I'll say for my end, I mean, definitely these are still relevant. There are definitely times though, like when we did in the past, we did a lot of lunch and learns. So we had, you know, anywhere between, you know, 10 to 30 agents out for a lunch and learn. Keep it semi-small, but I mean, that was a great hit. We had success with that. So I'd love to go back to that model. That's where we were getting more engagement and more people anyways. So this is great for information and education, and people watch it afterwards, but that physical touch, seeing someone's face face to face and seeing the information still is important to agents and advisors, I think.
Yeah, the area is forecast to open up, Phil, mid-June, I believe, is the target date. For the city, they're looking at the 4th of July to be fully open in Chicago.
Okay.
So the surrounding suburbs, I don't know how many of them have been following protocol, but yeah, I think it would be safe to say that there would be more in-person developing over the next 60 days. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I'll be honest, I'm fully vaccinated too. I got the Johnson & Johnson, you know, whether you're for it, against it, whatever, I'm safe from that standpoint. I didn't mean to cut you off, Sylvester. I saw you on mute. Did you have something you want to say as well?
Oh yeah, no problem. No, I was saying it's still 50-50. I love the in-person, but I also love the Zoom, just because sometimes, you know, we get a little lazy, so we don't want to drive. And then other times we can't wait to, then other times we can't wait to get out the house. We're running out the house. So I think this is, and I hate that phrase, the new normal, but I think it's 50-50, some Zoom, some face-to-face. And this allows the agencies and agents that are further away to still participate.
And
I think that's what's going to happen.
I mean,
I'm not going to miss a lunch. I'll be honest. So, you know, if I can share it with someone and on the company dime, sure, all day, any day. So, you know, trying to
don't
get
worry,
back to
we'll
fighting
strike that
weight,
from the record.
Yeah, exactly. Just Exactly. But yeah, they're looking probably more of a hybrid model. It'll be for trainings and things like that. Because let's be honest, I'm not knocking traditional brokerage methods, but it was always meet the top guy, take him out for dinner, schmooze him a little bit, and push business that way. But really, and it kind of ironically falls into our value proposition, and I'll kind of dive into and just share some screens with you too. You know, when we think about Partners Group, not my kids, but when we think about Partners Group, when I do come out, you'll see the dog and pony in this. Maybe not the tie. We're a little less formal, as you could tell. But, you know, Partners Group, we'll talk with the agents as well to give you a little background about myself. The value proposition that I bring is that I used to work not only with the independent world, I've worked the career world. I've also worked with the financial advisors. So Edward Jones, Merrill Lynch, Wells Fargo. I like talking about concepts and sales ideas just as much as more than I do talking about product, because product changes all the time, but it's the stories that we tell versus the products that we sell that really kind of drive that opportunity. And so, you know, as Nathan mentioned, I got my cell number right here, text call. You can email philip.resch. It's 1 L, not 2, like the apostle. I'm just not as holy. Jason Price is actually out on medical leave. So we talked about the successes. I've got Johnson & Johnson. I'm good. Jason actually got a mild case of Bell's palsy, unfortunately, after the second shot. So, you know, my thoughts and prayers are with him. I know I shouldn't be saying that, but I think we're all, you know, hoping for the best for him and not wishing him ill will. But long story short, in the meantime, I do have another internal wholesaler, Alex Voloshin. So fun word to say, Voloshin. But great, young, hungry go-getter. And so we are Team Southern Comfort. We're the Southern region at AIG. I call it Southern Comfort because I was outvoted. I wanted Dirty South, but my other two IWs said Southern Comfort was better. So I couldn't help it. In any event, we're here to help you support anyway. We can talk case design. I've done cases 100,000 10-year term. Wrapping up a ILET case for $41.5 million, where the guy's funding $1 million premium every year for 10 years. So everything in between, can talk about it, and you know, even the value proposition of people getting appointed with us will help them, because I like to do a sales idea once a month. And if you're appointed with us, you'll get those newsletters on when I do those. So I think in like a couple of weeks, I'm doing it on business insurance, key business insurance things. But in any event, I'll kind of go through some of the down and dirty of our portfolio, not go too deep into it because you guys probably know a lot of this already, but want to just share some of the differences that kind of separate us from our competition. Our living benefit story is bar none the best in the industry. If you're familiar with National Life Group, the guy who created the ABRs at National Life Group came to AIG after. And so we have the value proposition of $2 million for all chronic, critical, and terminal. If you get approved with us, all chronic, critical, terminal that you get up to $2 million across any of your policies. So if you have $2 million plus with us, we'll accelerate up to $2 million per person. If you're not familiar with how ABRs work, I'll give a very cheesy example of how they work, because some people think they're getting ripped off, because I have $1 million policy with us. If I go on claim today, say something happens to me, I won't say what, because I'm a hypochondriac. And if I say it, it'll happen. But something happens to me and I have $1 million policy, AIG strokes me a check for 500 grand. I take that 100% acceleration, the other 500K goes away. Some people are like, whoa, you're taking my other 500K away. That's not the case. We're accelerating and giving you a present value of that future death benefit. So to equate that to talking to, Johnny Everyman, who may not understand that, I use the lotto as an example. And again, I'm not a smart guy, so I just use simple examples. So if we think of the lotto, everyone always has that conversation where you buy a ticket, it's 500 million as the prize, and everyone's like, what would you do if? You know, but then you see that little line at the bottom that says will be paid out over a 30-year annuity. Like, crap, you know, I want that money now. So you take the lump sum. They give you a present value of that 500K that if you invested it today, 30 years from now should be 500 million. So if you think about it, in essence, what we're doing in these type of policies is based on your ailment, issue, or concern, we analyze your new life expectancy and give you a present value of that money so that by the time you hit whatever age your anticipation or anticipated mortality, you'll have the same death benefit that you applied for. So you can use the lotto if you want to kind of describe the discounted benefit approach, but again, this is all built in, so your client's not paying extra for it. That's why it's a value proposition sale. You think cell phones, you can always buy a flip phone if you're talking about cheap, 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 but why do we buy Apple, Samsung, whatever? The value. Difference that we have.
Oh, I was just going to say, I was going to hammer, like, that's actually the best way that I've heard it described was that's the present value of the future death benefit. I think that phrase is really, really important because that's, like I said, that's the best that I've kind of simply heard it described when someone says, well, I'm not getting all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the tough part is to kind of say, well, what happens to my death benefit? I was like, well, you have an issue. And what hurts more? You suffering through medical bills, trying to make ends meet because you're down and out? Or you have some cash at hand to keep you afloat? I think the big thing, and you'll see as I go through this conversation, I really value our critical illness rider the most for a few reasons. But I'll get into that as we dive in through this. But we do have a guaranteed minimum benefit payout that our competition can't say they have. So if I had a stroke today, bought my policy yesterday, and it wasn't a major stroke, matter of fact, I'm out of the hospital whistling Dixie the same day, almost like I think I had a stroke kind of conversation. And that situation, most carriers say your life expectancy has not been impacted, therefore we're giving you nothing. Contractually speaking, we start at 2% for chronic, 4% for critical, and 70% for terminal day one. And that's the guaranteed minimum. There is a floor, so you have confidence to say your client will get something where our competition can't say that. Indemnity benefit, we're all kind of aware of indemnity benefit, cash in hand. You can pay the neighborhood kid to mow your lawn. You could pay a licensed practitioner. You could go to Vegas, put on black and let it ride for all we care. It's your money. No underwriting restrictions. You know, I had a hard time saying this with the COVID restrictions because, you know, we weren't pushing 70-year-olds through and things like that. But now I can say you get approved with us, no ifs, ands, or buts, no underwriting restrictions. You will get all the living benefits. So that's a major differentiator. I'm going to skip through the definitions because, again, I think we're all professionals here, understand them, but I will highlight critical because I love critical. It resonates with me being a well-insulated individual. I fear things like heart attack, stroke, cancer. So I'm protected with this. But also we think about LIRP sales, life insurance retirement plans, overfunded IULs, however you want to say it. We're at three main reasons why people get kicked out of the workforce: heart attack, stroke, cancer. So you look at funding strategies, you look at illustrations. In my opinion, illustrations just mean ink sticks to paper. It means nothing to me. If you think about how the product works and how the process works, half the game is getting to that retirement. So if your funding strategy shows a very sexy illustration rate, you still have to get there. So when you talk about things like this and you talk about how we compare against our competition, I always like to focus a lot on the critical. And what you'll see here is, I'm going to get all fancy with you. I'm going to try and draw arrows and things like that. You'll see Allianz always shows well illustrated wise, but there's no critical illness rider. There's an age restriction with Anico, same thing with the chronic. Only 50K with global. So again, if you think about the fact that if you're trying to get to that retirement and you don't quite make it to your retirement, we protect you during your working years and then reward you during your golden years. Trademark Phil Resch. If you say that phrase, you have to say trademark Phil Resch. NLG is only a mil, North American. has a based on their UL is only 50K as well. So again, I like to highlight the critical illness piece because if we think about it, especially those LERP cases, it makes a lot of sense to hedge your bet, protect your bet, because our policies start at whatever your face amount starts at, and if it increases over time and hits the 2 million, we protect you at that time of claim, not at the time of issue. So again, overemphasizing. What's that?
Say, just to reiterate that. So that's directly applying to the increasing death benefit play for IULs and things like that. So it's based upon the death benefit at claim rather than at issue, which could be a big difference.
Huge difference. And again, all risk classes for underwriting. Can't emphasize that enough. But at the end of the day, what we always want to make sure is that how has our company performed, even in COVID, when it matters most? Where have we been? And this is a slide I stole from our national sales meeting. So, I mean, here it is. In 2020 alone, we paid out 1.8 billion in death claims and about 36 million in living benefit claims. That's at the end of November of last year. So I would assume and say we probably hit 2 billion for death claims and 36 million for ABR claims. But just very impactful to understand that we are a large company. We are here for you, and we are very much in this space. So overarching theme for QOL, anytime you see the word QOL, that's your living benefits or your ABRs. And so we think about the flex term, just a couple quick highlights on our flex term. 18 different durations. So if you're doing a policy review, you're talking to a client, they bought a 20-year Primerica policy 3 years ago. And if you did, say, a review, and you're like, well, I'm going to use this carrier, they give me 20 years, but I only have 17 years left. Well, why not show them the 17-year duration with us? No, by the way, it's the new insurance. It's not the old insurance. You have living benefits too. More than likely, we're going to be cheaper. For the most part, we're going to be more cost efficient. I don't like using the word cheap because it kind of bastardizes the product, but we're more cost efficient in the market. That is our value proposition. But also, even competing against our own selected term, you know, we have full convertibility for the entire duration of our term. So even the difference in cost is like 3 to 5%, somewhere in that range. But you get full convertibility to the entire portfolio for the entire duration up to age 70. I think that's huge because in our selected term, just picking on my brethren there, 10-year term, you have 8 years you can convert to the permanent portfolio. And then after that, you have I don't want to say a junkie IUL, but a not so priced fairly IUL or whole life, non-par whole life. 15 plus, it's only the first 10 years. And by the way, if someone did pick selected term, that same 8 years or 10 years, they can convert to QOL permanent. So long story short, we have better conversion privileges. Go ahead, Jeff.
Could you say that again? If they have a select, they can convert to a QOL permanent?
Yep. As long as if it's in the first 8 years of a 10-year term,
right,
or the first 10 years of a 15+ year term. What I would say is you can email me the policy number. I'll get full, blessing on that to make sure that is accurate. But if you sold selected term today, that counts for today. The last 5 years since I've been here, 7 years, I know that's tried and true. We did acquire other companies like Old Line Life, Franklin, and companies like that. So it may not be gospel for those, but the selected term, that is accurate. But I can always find out for you. So with that too, partial conversions I think is important. With us, you can convert part of it, keep the rest. What we'll do is, so I'll use my example again. I have $1 million term. I convert 500K at now age 39, Phil, versus when I bought it at 34. What they'll do is they'll give me the new policy at 39, standard on tobacco, because I don't know what underwriter was on, but they gave me standard at the time. And then what they'll do for the other 500K is they'll reduce it to as if I bought 500K at 34 for the new pricing. This is really cool too. Our AAS living benefit rider, chronic illness rider, that gives you that increase up to 3 million, and it's dollar for dollar reduction. Another piece that you can do now is if it's in the past 5 years, you can convert your term to perm and add the AAS if you'd like. It is a non-invasive underwriting process. We can approve or decline it, but you have the ability to add it if you'd like for that dollar for dollar reduction on chronic illness. I know no one else has this. I'll touch on this. It's our QOL Advantage plan. So if you sell multiple policies, so I, Phil Resch, come in and I need $1 million in total term. But what are the 3 main reasons why people buy term? Mortgage, paycheck, and kicking the kids out of the house. I mean, college protection. They all don't really fall under one 30-year term, yet we always lump them all in together. Why? Because we want to get that banding discount, that higher face amount to save on the per dollar cost. Well, if you buy multi-durations with us up to 4 subsequent policies, so you have a master policy and 4 subsequent term policies, you'll get a discount on all of those subsequent policies. We'll waive the policy fee on all subsequent terms, and you'll get that banding discount as if you bought one giant large policy. So we call it a ladder approach. You'll see here, you identify the needs, you determine how long and amount, and then you buy multi-policies. So we're going to pick on Larry here, who's 41, has 2 kids. And those are his goals. He's got, again, kicking the kids out of the house, check. You got retirement or paycheck protection, check. And then that mortgage, which is the longest time frame at 26 years. So if we look at all these needs, they all have different time frames. We could buy a 30-year $1 million policy at $1543, but we buy multi-policies and save him about almost $400 a year. So if we think about that in the long run, if someone, say, canceled their policy after 26 years, they just bought the $1 million term, they would have spent a total of $40,000. But if they just went with our plan, they would save $14,000 by only spending $26,000. And so secretly, the other benefit to this as well for as a producer is now you have a built-in checkpoint here, here, and here. So you're not just talking to them at the end of the 30 year, you have at least 3 checkpoints available to talk to your client.
Yeah.
All right,
I was just going
dirty
to say
stuff out of the way. Go ahead.
Oh no, just on that laddering concept. Just had an agent use that last week, and I'm trying to remember what the amount is, but it was 4 policies in IUL and then 3 term policies, and I mean literally the amount was close to like $500 or $600 for the whole year that they were saving.
Yeah.
It was pretty significant.
It can get pretty, yeah, it can get pretty lofty. So that's why I like it. And so the gimme is cost efficiency, that QOL advantage, the gotchas, as we all mentioned in the beginning, no non-med for term yet. So we talk about what we have non-med for. The QOL Max Accumulator 2, our accumulation-based product. We have 0 to 50, up to 1 million. No blood, no urine, no APSs. We don't use outside vendors like LexisNexis either. Your client would have to do a telephone interview. And I know that's kind of taboo in the market, but basically in order for us to go up to 1 million versus $499, $999, we had to do a telephone interview because some agents were just clean sheeting. So bad apple spoils the bunch. We want better numbers, better outputs, and that's why we have the telephone interview. Now, the cool thing about this, your client doesn't really speak English or has a hard time speaking English, they'd rather their native tongue. On the QOL side, not the AGL side or AIG brokerage side, we actually have in-language support because the AIG Partners Group is a very diverse channel. So we have up to 250 languages to support in language. Now, the only thing is this is for U.S. residents. So born here, green cards, if they're H-1B, you still need to do full medical. You can get the AAS rider with our non-med underwriting, and these get approved. We've seen cases literally just yesterday. A case came in, did the phone interview the same day, got offered the same day. So single day turnaround time. If you get approved, you're going to go through quick. 80% of our cases are getting pushed through. We're actually updating our algorithms to make them even better on the 15th of May. But also, 75% of those cases are getting done in the first 5 days. So the other ones are just delaying their telephone interview. So we have a very good track record of pushing cases through. It's going to get even better in about 9 days. So more to come on that. And if you don't qualify, we push you to full medical. If you want to go full medical, or you can close the case down, it's up to you. So the option is there when you submit the case in Connects. I'll spend a little time on this because I think this is probably important. We have our index strategies. These index strategies are very unique. We only have them here when I talk MLSB and PIMCO. We run a 6.2% rate of return for these, and I'm highlighting these two for specific reasons. And I'll be completely honest, as I mentioned before, I'll say it again. Illustrations don't mean a lot to me. So if you say, hey, beat this on paper, and it's like Allianz or Global or F&G with their high illustration rates or whatever, you probably won't. But if you run a 6% rate of return, bring it down a little bit, we're probably within reason. And again, hedging the bet with the living benefits will make a lot of sense to your client. But understand the differences between these index strategies. And I always say run at 6%. And I like to do a mixed blend between MLSB and PIMCO. The reason why I like that is that there is a diversified approach to these. MLSB has S&P in it. It also has some conservative natures of the 10-year treasury. So it mixes between the two to give you that smoother ride. Averages around 6 to 8%. I'll show you a little something in just a second, but I want to leave you with that for just a second here. PIMCO, a bit more aggressive. That's why it's an 80% participation rate versus 110 on the other. And you'll see because it has emerging markets, international equities, small, mid, large cap. And then on the more conservative side, you have mortgage-backed securities, investment-grade corporates. And our targets are pretty competitive too. So, but it's not about targets, right? It's about the client. But let's go back to this slide for a second here. When we look at these, I want to digest this a little bit. So we have 110%
your client isn't the agent.
Huh?
Unless your client is the agent.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you know. But in any event, you didn't see that. You didn't see that from me, right? No one on this recording saw that. So 110% and 80%. Now, I'll be honest, right now, MLSB is not performing well because of the fluctuations in the market, the changes, and everything. But I will show you this. I got this from another RVP who got it from one of their accounts. It's all the specialty index strategies from last year. 10%. We look at the marker here. Nobody's hitting around 10% until you get to MLSB, 10.5%, shiny penny for last year. PIMCO did not do so hot. And as a matter of fact, PIMCO Global Optimal Index was about 2-3%, give or take. So let's fast forward to this year. And these are all accounts that you can pull up on the line. MLSB, not doing so hot this year. Like I said, year-to-date return, negative 2.15%. So we say, whoa, 5 years, only 5%. Why are you showing 6.2? Well, this is an open product. This is not the index strategy. So they average around 6 to 8% on an annual basis because when you add the floor and caps, the averages go up. But like I said, it's not doing as hot this year. But if you think about PIMCO, did bad last year, if it closed today, you'd have a 16.88% rate of return on your bucket. So when I go back to talking about these, my philosophy is always show a diversified approach. 50-50 blend, or if you want to add in a little high cap action, just the built-in S&P 500, but you diversify it. Now, if you look at it from an illustration rate and you look at a spreadsheet, it'll always show 100% MLSB because that gives you the highest illustrated numbers for LERP cases or income cases. So when I come to you today, it's an integrity moment for me. I feel more confident saying you want to diversify your assets versus just showing higher numbers on a page. Personal philosophy, but again, being young in this industry, I want to make sure that I leave a mark on it. So that's my mission. So flip side, that's our accumulation product. Now, if we go to the other side, we go to the Value Plus Protector, QOL Value Plus Protector. As you can see, death benefit focused. Death benefit focused. It's kind of like if a GUL and an accumulation IUL met up in a bar, had some conversations. Next thing you know, out comes the Value Plus Protector. It is a hybrid between a GUL and a IUL, accumulation-based IUL. So it's that bridge concept. We also have non-med for this product as well. Same setup, 0 to 50, up to $1 million. No blood, no urine, no APSs, TI for the Part B. So you don't have to ask the questions like, hey, client, do you take heroin? We'll ask those questions. This one has a lower rate of return, 5.04, because it is a guarantee-esque type product. So you have guarantees built into it that you don't have with the max accum. So you participate less. There's a lower rate of return on the participation rates because there's built-in guarantees on that 0% column. 7702 updates are coming May 15th as well. So right now we have a higher focus on guarantees. And so it made it a little bit more costly. We used to compete very well against Symetra and John Hancock, but with the update to AG 49A, we got a little bit more expensive because we're focusing more on guarantees, not on low cost. That's getting adjusted on May 15th. So you'll have more low cost options, i.e. if you want to lapse the contract at 95, you'll be able to under current assumptions where you couldn't right now. So more to come on that. It will be more enhanced. It'll actually be more like our Value Plus Protector 1 product. But there's a lot of cool bells and whistles inside the Value Plus Protector. Don't want to bore you with them today. We can always deep dive on these, run illustrations on these too, so you understand how they work. We still have a GUL. Go ahead, Jeff.
When you say it's going to affect the comp with Symetra and Hancock, is that because they haven't done anything with 7702 yet?
Kind of. They focus more on, so if you think about, like, I'll pick on Hancock because with Hancock, they have a current assumption UL, and the current assumption UL has its benefits. You know, they talk about the, hey, we're Canadian, eh? So we got Canada with the timber and the other stuff, so they show higher illustrated rates, all that fun stuff, and they basically have a higher illustration rate on their current assumption ULs, so they can show lower cost in premium on a death benefit sale. And so the 0% column doesn't matter as much because, you know, you're paying a lot less on the current assumption side. But for us, we competed very well against that. And then all of a sudden, we decided to go more of like the protective route, where protective costs more, but people like the guarantees and pushing out the guarantees. Yeah. So we have an actuary from Protective who came over about 5 years ago. So methodology kind of followed. Our company, or I would say our clients, spoke a little louder and said we want it to be more like the Value Plus Protector 1, where we had flexibility in cost structure. And so that's why we're kind of going back to more of a current assumption IUL versus a more guaranteed focus IUL.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. And speaking of, you know, guaranteed products, we do still have a GUL. For how long, I don't know. This is the insider tip. You know, we saw prices increase or are going to increase very soon. Average of 17%. I've heard up to 40% in some cells. I'll be honest, this is a dying market. It really is. The GUL was great in the early 2000s when people had collapsing ULs and VULs and things like that. You want to do a single pay into a GUL, good to go, fun stuff like that. But with the illustration rate at 5.04% on the Value Plus, so conservative. If you think about the worst 30 years in U.S. history around the Great Depression timeframe, if you take the average, there was a positive 2.8% with the ups and downs. So if you put a 0% floor and just say a 9% cap, you're at a 4.5% rate of return. So we're showing 54 basis points higher than the worst time in U.S. economy. I think it's fairly comfortable to say the reason why these products are being incentivized more than the GUL. Matter of fact, for U.S. producers, you're incentivized more as well. So you have higher targets on the Value Plus versus the GUL. So if it's okay with you guys, I'm going to skip the GUL because in about a week, it's going to be worthless to even sell, in my opinion. It's more of a retention sale at this point. But there is an ROP on it, 20 and 25, 20%, 50%, 100%, 25. A lot of clicks. All right, so where are we going? Kind of mentioned this in the beginning, our term. Hopefully we'll have that Q4. Enhanced consumer experience. This is something big that we're really trying to do. So AIG is a big company. When I worked at MetLife, we also used this wonderful company called eService for our customers. And we're looking to really enhance that to really give a true end-to-end experience. So your customers don't have to dust off a fax machine to send us stuff or call us. Heaven forbid they call us. So we're looking to really step into the next century and get that online feel. So if people want to make allocation changes and things like that, that's our focus for this year, is really enhancing the end-to-end experience so customers don't have to call us if they don't want to. Perfect example of a millennial. I spent an hour texting Comcast to change my plan versus calling them and spending 10 minutes to do it because I didn't want to call them. When you talk about updated WebEx trainings from AIG, last month, or excuse me, we're in May now. So March, I did a 3-week course. I did MaxAcume first week. I talked about our free resources, marketing material the second week. And then the third week, I did a how to have a tax diversification conversation sales idea to marry in with the MaxAcume. This past month, we did death benefit focus, so Value Plus week 1. Then we did field underwriting, how to set the expectations for clients. And then the last week, which is the last week I did, was understanding the differences between traditional LTC. How to overcome that. You have also the hybrid products like Lincoln MoneyGuard, how to compare that to what we have in our portfolio and kind of marry in what's available. So future trainings that I'm looking to do, like I said, business insurance, small business market is highly untapped still. And I think it really warrants an opportunity to have discussions around that. In June, I'm going to be doing how to have an ILIT conversation. It's pretty much an example of how I whiteboarded how to bring in large cases. So I was able to secure that $41.5 million case. And then probably going to pull in whole life versus IUL in July. So got a lot of sales ideas, want to bring those in. So if it gets people contracted with us so they get these emails coming, or Nathan, if you want me to do that for you guys separately, I'll gladly do that too. But I just want to say we're more than just product pushers. We have sales ideas, we have case design opportunity, and also bonus opportunities. So with us, with our portfolio, not including brokerage products, just the QOL line, we have a very robust agent incentive opportunity through our QOL bonus. So January 1st to December 31st, the more you sell with us, the more you make. It is uncapped. So if you sell more than 30,000, you're going to get a 20% bonus on everything else that you sell the rest of the year. So if I sold 60,000 with us, then I'm going to get a $6,000 check and say, wait a minute, Phil, that's only 10%. We net out the first 30,000. That's your ticket to the game. Once you check off that ticket, you're now in Bonusville, and everything after that is going to get a 20% kicker come the end of January 2022. Sorry, I'm still thinking we're 2020. And then last but not least, if you get to $100,000 in paid sales with us in the calendar year of 2021, not only do you get $14,000 check, but you and a guest also qualify for our Leaders Development Conference, where you will get to go to the Grand Cayman Islands. If you qualify for Elite Leaders, that's 50,000 extra, so 150,000 total for the year, and you qualify as an Elite Leader for 2 extra days in the Grand Caymans for you and a guest. I'm not even allowed to go on these trips. This is for my boss, my boss's boss, my boss's boss's boss, to basically say, thank you for what you did with us, and we appreciate you. So,
well, if you're not going to be there,
back to my, I know, and then it'll be a party. You'll actually have fun. But yeah, going back to this, all my contact information, because I know we went through a lot. We basically jumped into the portfolio. Kind of what's going on. There's 7702 stuff happening. Value Plus is coming this coming week. 7702 is coming in July for the Max Accum, and early rumors and hearsay on that is we're going to have a better opportunity for juvies. It will even be NLG, and that was one of their big selling points is juvie cases, max funding juvie cases. So more to come on that, but we're going to have a really good value proposition with our Max Accum as well. After 7702, we're trying not to butcher targets. I think that's the name of the game. So that's why we're waiting so long. We were first to go AG 489A, first to go with COVID restrictions. Both of those didn't work out well for us, so we're doing the wait and see approach on 7702, so we can be competitive right off the bat. So, long story short, that's us. That's me. Any questions? I will gladly answer them at this point in time.
Well, and then so I know you mentioned some of the sales ideas that you're doing. So for everyone that's on here in the recording, if you want to shoot Phil an email with the best email, if you want to get update on those, because those are good tidbits that you guys can use when you're talking to agents. So take note of that, leverage those resources. My other question then is, I know you guys, one of the reasons we like you guys, because you guys a lot of microsites and places to get information without having a contract number yet. What are some of those?
Yep. Great question. Let me pull that up here for you on the Google. So if I just do AIG.com, it had it already there, .com/QOL. Very easy. It brings you to this microsite. On this site, you have products, you have agent recruiting. So if you're building or trying to gather agents, you can use our free marketing content for social media. So you can use LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. And just from an example standpoint, I'll show you. And feel free if you want to link in as well. I'm always a fan of linking in with people, but I posted, on my profile here, I want to say about a month ago or so. But people have viewed my profile. That's not what I wanted to say. People have viewed my post. One sec. Sorry. People have viewed my post. So what you'll see here is I posted one thing about a month ago. It got liked by maybe like 6, 7 people, 9 people. But 563 people viewed my profile at that point, or viewed my post. These are all product agnostic. As you can see, nowhere on here does it say, hey, you have to buy QOL. It's all stuff to make your client think. Same thing here. Had 654 views on that. So long story short, we have these pictographics to really help. You can use LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I'm not on Facebook or Twitter because I just don't. This is as close as I'm going to get to social media. But under products, to kind of talk about some things that we talked about, living benefits. We have our videos. So if you want a real tearjerker, you go to the Chris Edwards story. These are all able to be posted as well. Competitive analysis, how we stack up against our competition, including our AAS versus other chronic illness and long-term care riders. Living benefit details. So if you want to learn more, we are very hot in California. We actually have 2 RVPs who cover California. That's how big it is. But because you're with us, you're with this. Even if you have agents in California, they come with us, not them. So long story short, they do have different rules. Nothing crazy, but they are different.
They are
Then
totally
you talk
different.
about products. What's that?
Oh, as I said, California, it is a good point because we do have some agents and people in California. Most other carriers are not friendly with California is not friendly with other carriers. So those ABRs
Exactly.
are really important because I don't know, there's not a lot of other carriers that have good ABRs out there.
Yep. And even with our AAS rider, that too is out there and available for California. We have 2%, 4%, and outside of California, we have IRS per diem as well. Inside it's just 2 or 4%. The main difference in critical, they say heart attack, we say major heart attack. So what heart attack is not considered major? So again, it's just phraseology, but all our ABRs are built into California. So again, strong value proposition there. You want to learn more about our other products? They're all right here. Again, agent recruiting. So if you want to build agencies, build more agents, that campaign in a box, which is what I was talking about. We have pre-built campaigns on 6 different topics for this. But if I did a pre-built campaign, we make it foolproof for you. I mean, everything is here. You have a calendar. You can do snail mail, e-newsletters. You can do LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. All you have to do is highlight, hit Control-C, and go over here. If I want to post something, all I have to do is go here, hit Start a Post, Control-V. Gonna pull the picture in. Slam. I got hashtags and everything. We did it all for you. So long story short, very easy, very simple process to go from that standpoint. And again, we have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Cool thing about this too is we also give you webinars. So if you want to have a topic like basics for life insurance and you want to teach on that to agents who are new in the industry, we give you this beautiful presentation that is slowly coming up. And we give you all the talking points to go with it. So a lot of intel, a lot of stuff that's available. I would say you could get lost in a lot of our content because it's so robust. But AIG.com/QOL is a good place to start. If you're agents, if you're doing development, so you're trying to build your agents to understand how to run our stuff, you have Getting Started, and it says Connects, how to get logged into Connects. But then we also have our foreign national guidelines, our regular guidelines, agent training. We have brain sharks and presentations on how to run our illustrations the basic way. But you can always come to us for the more advanced stuff or the basic stuff too. Part of my metrics for the year is WebExes. So thank you, Nathan, for reaching out and asking me to do a WebEx.
Hey, you're
So as you can see, there's just a lot here. This could be a whole different presentation unto itself, but wanted to at least show you that and what we have available for you.
Is the bit, because I know that this one I send out a lot, the Business Institute, Business Development Institute, link to this, or is that's a separate website?
That is a separate website. It's a great question. Now there's, let's see, I'm gonna reach out on a limb here and see if it's here. So BDI, Business Development Institute.
Perfect.
Yep. So you got that. It just clicks you over to BDI. Go to BDI.
It's under agent recruiting then, and then one of those tabs.
Yep. I usually just do this, not that. I don't like that. If I just do AIG.com/advanced sales, this is another cool site, off the menu site. But it gives you stuff on estate planning, business planning, retirement, charitable, and then you see BDI is right there. So this is all client-friendly stuff too. Some of the stuff I'm going to go over this month is business planning, but if you want a canned thing that you can give a client, so islets, you pull it up, you can co-brand it, put your info in here, and then, you know, it talks about it. So a lot of stuff we have available. That was a separate site, AIG.com/advanced sales. And that would be, you know, the enhanced stuff. So we got stuff, lots of stuff. And this.
Hey, anybody else have any other questions as we wrap up?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's something that isn't talked a lot lately, but waiver of premium.
Yeah.
How is it handled both as it's kind of a two-part question, Phil. If it's a UL, is it just covering the COI? Is it covering the premium the person's putting in, or they have a choice?
We have both. So we have waiver of premium and waiver of specified premium.
Okay. And if it's coming over from a conversion, are both available? Do they have the option of either?
I'd have to ask. That's a great question. Normally I know all answers because I am the end all be all, but that is a stumper. So if you want, you can feel free to email me your email address and I can get back to you direct, or I can go through Nathan. Depends on what you want, but I can find out the answer and let you know.
Okay.
You know, they're going to talk to you directly.
Fair enough. The bonus, is it actual annual premium paid or annualized premium paid?
It's going to be the annualized total. It's going to be I'll go back to let me go back 1, 2, crap. Hold on, 1, 2. So the way they specify it, you'll see it's net annualized weighted premium. So it's target plus 10% of the excess.
Great. So if it's being paid monthly, they annualize the premium to go towards the entry fee.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to carry that years and years. So yeah.
Okay. Your previous webinars, are they recorded? Are they available anywhere?
They aren't recorded, and the reason why is I'm a FINRA licensed representative. I got my 663 and 26, anything I have to do has to be going through compliance. And as you can tell, I'm not very compliant. So I can gladly do it again if you want to bring a group in, or if you want one-on-one, I can gladly do it again. It's not a problem for me. Okay,
so they're not recorded, but you're willing, if there's a group, to present it again.
Yep, and it can be a group of 1, 2, 3, or 30, 100, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. I'm here to serve.
Terrific. All right, couple other things real quick. I heard the term recently, the dollar cost averaging rider. Can you briefly give a kind of summation of what that is and how to use it?
Yep. What it is hold on one sec. Got a call. I'm going to take it as a sec, but these are good questions. So DCA, dollar cost average. I know, right? The encore. Get your beers. The DCA is simply this. You've got a 1035 that comes in, or a large lump sum. And I always use the analogy of roulette because I like gambling. So if you think of roulette, 36 numbers on a table, you put all your chips on one number, you have a 1 in 36 chance of hitting. But if you diversify and put them on 12 numbers, now you have a 1 in 3 chance. So same thing here. The DCA, you get a large sum come in and you want to diversify it over 12 months. You could do that. If you want to do it over 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, you could do that, but they're going to be consecutive. We're not going to skip months.
Okay.
And so we'll give you 2% interest, give or take, I think is the going rate right now. that'll get fed in on the last bucket that goes in. But it truly just diversifies your assets so you're not rolling the dice on one number and hope it hits. Now, the update coming next week is also going to be that we'll have that available for annual premium too. All right, thanks, Sylvester. Glad you could join.
Okay. And the last thing is, what was your trademark saying?
We can protect you during your working years and then reward you during your golden years. So you think about a LIRP, life insurance retirement plan. If you don't quite make it to the retirement you deserve, we got your back. But if you do, we also have your back. So it's self-completing. That's why I say protect during the working years and reward during the golden years.
All right. If I do use it, excuse me, is there any royalty that has to be paid?
Just a nickel. Just a nickel. No, if you, all I ask is you just show AIG or at least put us in the mix.
Without question. I think that's all I had.
A great question.
Yeah, I think we're good on this side, Phil. I know you got to get to the next stuff, as do we. So I really appreciate your time. We'll definitely be leveraging your knowledge and your monotone magic in the future as well. But
always a pleasure.
Jumping on, and we'll leverage those resources.
All right, my friend. You guys have a great day, and thank you for the time.
You too, Phil. Pleasure meeting you.
I'll shoot out this recording there.
Same here. All right. Take care, guys.